Hello, welcome to CGTN. This is our special coverage on China's latest venture into space. Live from Beijing, I'm Pan Deng. In around 30 minutes from now at 12:11 Beijing time, the Shenzhou-22 spacecraft is scheduled to launch from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center in northwest China. The Long March 2F Y-22 carrier rocket has been filled with propellant and is ready for the launch. It will carry food supplies, devices and equipment and will dock with the Tiangong space station. The Shenzhou-21 taikonauts aboard the space station are in good condition. They're preparing to receive the spacecraft. And China says it will continue efforts in space exploration during its 15th five-year plan period from 2026 to 2030. Officials have announced the launch of scientific satellite missions focusing on major frontiers, such as the origins of the universe and space weather. Key missions include searching for Earth-like planets outside the solar system and building an upgraded X-ray timing and polarization space observatory.
We strive to make original scientific breakthroughs in the origin and evolution of the universe, the origin of space weather, and the origin of life on exoplanets. We also hope that the achievements of our scientific satellites will become a landmark in building China into a world leader in science and technology by 2035.
Now, for more insight, we're joined in the studio by Professor Yang Jiuquan. Thank you very much for joining us. Professor, let's start with the upcoming Shenzhou-22 spacecraft launch. Tell us about the significance of this launch, because I saw some commentators and space mission enthusiasts saying that this mission is both expected and unexpected.
Exactly. I can still remember just 11 years before, just in the studio of CCTV News, I joined the live coverage of the launch of the Shenzhou-8 mission, also a manned spacecraft. So this time again, we have a launch of a Shenzhou spacecraft without astronauts inside. So this is the, we can recognize it as the rescue ship for the Shenzhou-21 crew, because the Shenzhou-21 spacecraft has been used for the return of our Shenzhou-20 crew. So this time, although, as you mentioned, it is unexpected, but still we can see that only 20 days after we found the crack on the windows of the Shenzhou-20 spacecraft. So we are very fast. We have a faster response, and it is also shows that we always recognize the life, the safety of our taikonauts as the first thing, the most important thing we should consider.
So you mentioned a lot of critical tasks since space debris collision was detected on the Shenzhou-20 spacecraft, and you used the term only within 20 days. How about global audience to make sense of this period of time? How difficult and how challenging is it for a country to finish all those tasks you just mentioned within 20 days?
Think about it. It is a coincidence that all the space-capable nations in manned space field all met this problem within 2 years. The Soyuz MS-22 spacecraft also collided by a space debris and caused the leakage of the coolant when it was docked to the International Space Station. And you know that the Soyuz MS-22 crew, they have postponed their return for almost half a year. And we can think about the Starliner made by Boeing company. And because of the malfunction of its propulsion system and also its hardware and software, it caused a delay almost 9 months. But this time for China, you know that we only delayed for 9 days for the Shenzhou-20 crew for their return. So it is a coincidence that the problem we found just during the handover of a different crew. But you know, it is the best choice, I think, to make this decision to let the Shenzhou-20 crew return to the Earth, because they've already stayed in outer space for more than 200 days, and to return to the Earth by the Shenzhou-21 spacecraft. You know that the key point is we still keep the Shenzhou-20 spacecraft docked to our Tiangong space station.
Yeah, exactly. Why is that?
You know that even if it has problem, it is not safe enough, but still better than no rescue ship.
Right.
So if anything wrong happened before the launch today, if anything wrong happened, for instance, a big space debris, if it hit the space station and caused a very serious depressurization of the habitable modules, we can still use the Shenzhou-20 spacecraft to return our Shenzhou-21 crew, although it's not safe enough, but better than no spaceship. So this is
very necessary redundant.
Very, very necessary. And you know that also it is necessary before the launch today, we must free the front docking port, because you know that we only have 3 docking ports on our Tianhe-1 core module. So it's necessary before the launch today to release one of the docking ports for the Shenzhou-22 spacecraft. Moreover, you see that before the launch today, and even before the launch of the Shenzhou-21 crew to our Tiangong space station, they must be trained for these circumstances. For instance, you know that this today is a manned launch. And several hours later, Shenzhou-22 spacecraft will dock with the Tiangong space station in autonomous mode. But you know that this is a normal condition. For abnormal condition, it is necessary to have the Shenzhou-21 crew have the ability to drive this Shenzhou-22 spacecraft to switch from the autonomous mode to manual mode. This is very necessary. You see, we cannot sure that everything is 100% reliable. So if anything wrong happened to the autonomous rendezvous and the docking system, we can still change to manual mode and ensure the safe docking today. So this is necessary, and I believe that just before coming to our Tiangong space station, our Shenzhou-21 crew has already been well trained for this.
Indeed, Professor, as we're talking about this, we're also watching footage from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center, where the Shenzhou-22 will be launched very soon. And for more on that, let's cross live to our reporter Wu Lei, right at the Satellite Launch Center in Jiuquan. Wu Lei, bring us up to date on the liftoff.
Hello, Pendeng. We are now 150 meters away from the launch pad at the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center, and all the rotating platforms are now fully open. And we know that this unique mission is Shenzhou-22 mission. The Long March 2F rocket is expected to lift off very soon in less than 30 minutes, sending the Shenzhou-22 spacecraft to space and dock with China's Tiangong space station. This is the first time for China manned space programs to launch an emergency mission using a standby rocket as well as Shenzhou spacecraft. We know earlier the Shenzhou-20 spaceship was hit by a minor space debris. The Shenzhou-20 crew returned to Earth via the Shenzhou-21 spaceship. That's why Chinese scientists, engineers applied this emergency rocket and spacecraft. And these workers and engineers, scientists have been working day and night for this emergency space flight mission. And China says the astronaut's life always comes first. That's why this mission is quite unique and important for the China's manned space programs. Actually, I have been here at the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center for several times, but this is my first time to witness a emergency launch mission using a standby rocket as well as spacecraft. And now most of the engineers have evacuated, and we also have to go to a safer place. And all the best to the Shenzhou-22 mission, and we will bring you more updates of this mission. Back to you, Pandeng.
Thank you very much. Our reporter Wu Lei at the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center in northwest China. So, Professor, our reporter just mentioned that this time the Long March carrier rocket is kind of a backup one. Tell us more about that. There's always an exact replicate of what has been launched into space, right?
Well, this combination, I mean, the Long March 2F rocket and together with the Shenzhou spacecraft, the combination, the original plan should be launched next April. But you know that before the launch of the Shenzhou-21 spacecraft, it has already reached the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center and already reached the VAB, or the Vehicle Assembly Building, and already have initial test and verification of its status, but not combined together. After we found the problem of the Shenzhou-20 spacecraft, the decision made by the China Manned Space Agency, we start the emergency launch procedure. Usually we have two modes. One is we need to have 8.5 days for the emergency launch. But you know that our Shenzhou-22 crew is okay in our station. We have sufficient supplies in food, water, and oxygen. So it's not in a hurry. We choose another mode, which use about 16 days for the launch. But still, you know that it's much faster than a normal launch procedure. So with this procedure, you may notice that every time in a normal launch, just several days before launch, we will have a report on the rolled out from the VAB to the launch pad.
Right.
But this time you haven't seen it.
Right.
This is because you know that this procedure today is quite different from our procedure before. In the previous normal missions, usually we have the combination, the rocket and the Shenzhou spaceship combined together in the VAB and rolled out to the launch pad together. But you know, in this emergency procedure, it's different. Usually we assemble the rocket and it will be rolled out to the launch pad, and then we will transport the combination of the payload fairing together with the Shenzhou spaceship together to the launch pad. And another one, you may notice on this video, on the top is the emergency escape top.
Yeah.
So the three parts will be transported to the launch pad separately, and then assembled together on the launch pad. You may see the crane on the top of the service tower.
Yeah.
So it has a function to assemble these combinations together. So you can see that this is quite different from the previous missions. So we don't have.
Would that be more difficult? The procedure you just mentioned, assemble the rocket and also the spaceship right on the launch pad.
Yes. So it's, you know, that's the circumstances, the environment is not so ideal comparing with the VAB.
You got temperature differences
the
every
temperature
day.
And the cleanliness.
And the wind, right?
Yeah, exactly. And also dust. So in this procedure, but still, you know that one important thing is that both the Shenzhou spacecraft and our launch vehicle has tens of thousands and even millions of parts. So even a slight part of it has a malfunction. It may cause damage of the whole spacecraft, and it causes a failure. So the basic requirement of us is we must complete the comprehensive test, verification, and checking. So to complete all these things within such a short period, we have to carefully design the emergency test and the checking procedure. Both either 8.5 days or 16 days, we must complete all these procedures. So you know that the ground staff, either from the Shenzhou spacecraft system and those from the launch vehicle system, must gathering together within 1 day. And then they will conduct all these procedures both on the VAB, on the vehicle assembly building, and also on the launch pad. So also, you know that every launch is not only the business of the Shenzhou spaceship system and the launch vehicle system. We also have a coordination between the launch site system, the TTNC, or the telecontrol, telemetry, and control system. And we must have also, you know, that's some rehearsal of all these systems, and including the ground stations along the trajectory of our Shenzhou spacecraft. So you can see on this, as Wu Lei has already mentioned, all the rotating platform has already withdrawn from the launch vehicle. We can see the whole launch vehicle itself. But I believe that the procedure is quite different from the previous one, because you know that if we have the astronauts inside, we will first open the rotating platform on the top to activate the emergency escape system. But this time, you know, we don't have the astronaut inside, so it's not necessary this time. But still, at this moment, you can see there's still at least we have 2 or more arms connected to the launch vehicle, which means that at this moment, we still have the pipes and the cables connected to our launch vehicle. For instance, to provide the ventilation and air conditioning inside the payload fairing. And also we applied electricity to our launch vehicle to save the energy of the storage batteries inside our Shenzhou spacecraft and our launch vehicle. And also, you know that we have the other pipes for the fillings for the high pressure gases, and also other cables for the transmitting the signals for different tests of the subsystem. So at this moment, still, you know that we have well every parameter well monitored by the ground, and with the counting down procedure, we also still have to conduct some checking for different systems before the launch. So I believe that there's no much difference between this time and the normal launch procedure, but we do have I believe that at this moment, the commander of our Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center is full of confidence, because you know that every critical checking has been done together already, I believe.
Right. Just by listening to your explanation on this emergency launch procedure, I already felt it was a breathtaking procedure that requires high precision, determination, and also a strong capability of handling emergency situations like this by rehearsing, designing, and leaving no details ignored. Because for quite a long time, it's widely been recognized that space engineering is the crown jewel of the human being's industrial advancement. But ultimately, it's about human lives, right?
Exactly. So we always, as Woolley mentioned, we always recognize the safety of our astronauts comes first. But you know, as I mentioned, for the spacecraft itself, we also must ensure everything goes okay. We not only should launch our spacecraft into orbit. That's not the basic requirement. The basic requirement is that it should be accurate enough in orbit. Only within this requirement being met, we can ensure that it can dock to our Tiangong space station, because we only have limited propellants.
Indeed, and the clock is ticking. I believe it's T-minus 15 minutes starting from now. And we're watching live footage from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center. These are the engineers and commanders you just talked about on the ground, busily preparing for the bigger moment to come. I believe this would also be a kind of extraordinary experience for them, right? Because emergency launches are not exactly common.
Well, they must be trained many times for this, and including this.
But this is a real moment, right?
Yeah. Although you know that, although this is not a normal launch procedure, but still, for this, as I mentioned, for the 8.5 days procedure and for the 16 procedure, they must have this rehearsal or even wet rehearsal many times to ensure
it's part
that
of the daily job,
okay.
right?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So you can see that as you mentioned in the previous video, we can see in the hall of the commanders, the flight control of the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center, the ground staff, mainly from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center system, and also those from the Shenzhou and Long March rocket system, they are also monitoring all the parameters on their screens in front of them. Moreover, you can see that maybe this time we haven't heard a voice, but the commander, usually we call the Commander 0, will also confirm the status of each ground station, including those along the track of the downrange of the launch, some for instance, Weinan, Qingdao, and also even maybe a space tracking ship in the Pacific Ocean. We must also ensure that these ground stations comes okay, because you know every time we can see the clear video stream from the launch vehicle. We can see this we should thank to the help of our ground stations and together with our Tianlian data relay satellite, so we can have a continuous data link with our launch vehicle, and not only the parameters will be well monitored, but also we can see the video inside the cabin of our Shenzhou spacecraft.
Right.
And also, you know that we have some cameras mounted on the launch vehicle and also inside the payload fairing to monitor the status of our
talking about the
Shenzhou
monitoring of the whole trajectory of the launch, sometimes I notice it's optical, but sometimes it's not, right? All necessary methods will be exhausted.
Very professional. You see that we cannot choose a launch time. We choose a zero launch window, which can be accurate better than 1 second. But when to launch the spacecraft, we cannot choose that, because this should follow the rules of orbital dynamics. The basic requirement for the launch vehicle actually speaking, for a chasing vehicle, the Shenzhou spacecraft, is to launch into the same orbital plane of our Tiangong space station. So we don't have other choices but to when the launch pad rotating along with the rotate of the Earth, when it passing through the orbital plane of our Tiangong space station, only at this moment we can launch the Shenzhou spacecraft. So you can see on the screen is zero launch window. The launch time will be 12:11. Yeah. So
Beijing time.
Yeah. So it should be accurate enough. As I mentioned, only it is accurate enough. We have the chance to make the rendezvous and the docking possible because we only have limited propellants inside the propulsion module of our Shenzhou spacecraft.
And it's such a tiny window, right? Because I noticed that it's right down to seconds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So today the GNC system, all the guidance, navigation and control system also is improved every time. The control mechanism is optimized. So this is a very practical technology for the China Aerospace. But still, that I should emphasize for any launch, it is a very risky part. For any return, also is very risky. So usually, that for the astronauts, of course not this time, they must be well trained for not only the normal launch procedure, but also for abnormal cases.
Not easy. In space engineering, nothing is easy, huh?
But we can see that like Beijing, that the sky in Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center is also very clear. So it is a very good weather for the launch. As you mentioned, the wind is also a very important issue we should consider.
Yeah, we actually can get a little bit indicator on the right bottom corner. Yeah, is that some kind of indicator to show how strong the wind is?
Yeah, it seems it's not very strong, so it's very good condition for the launch.
So overall, it's favorable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, go back to trajectory monitoring, optical options and other options.
So
maybe?
we have the visible light cameras, we have infrared cameras, also we have readers. We have readers to monitor the trajectory of our launch vehicle. So this, together with the telemetry data emitted by the vehicle itself, we can confirm that if it is normal condition, in the normal condition.
So talking about spacecraft this time, Shenzhou-22, it's not an empty spacecraft. It carries payload. Break down the payload this time for us.
Well, that this is an unmanned launch, so we have plenty of space and mass provided for the cargoes. Very interesting this time. You know that to stay in orbit for several months or even half a year, the favorite thing for an astronaut is the coming of another spacecraft because it can bring fresh food to them. So this time I heard from CMG that they will bring chicken, they will bring beef, and also fresh fruit for our Shenzhou-21 crew. Also maybe some instruments for scientific research.
Maybe a little bit more use of the space oven those taikonauts just got on the Tiangong space station.
Yes, exactly. So this time, that's another important thing for our Shenzhou-21 crew. I believe they will train in orbit for the piloting of our Shenzhou-22 spacecraft. Oh, you can see this is a video.
We're talking about payload. It's inside the spacecraft.
You can see that this is a video camera mounted inside the re-entry capsule of our Shenzhou-22 spacecraft. You can see no astronaut inside, but on each of the 3 seats, we have full of cargoes. We fastened with
this is exactly
the belt.
what we're talking about.
Yeah,
right?
this is what we talk about.
Yeah.
And that's for our Shenzhou-21 crew members, they must be trained in orbit after docking of our Shenzhou-22 spacecraft to be familiar with the panels inside. That one important thing we should consider is that for the Shenzhou-20 crew, to piloting the Shenzhou-21 spacecraft, there is no difficulty because they were produced in one batch, which means that their technical specifications are the same. So those who trained for the Shenzhou-21 spacecraft also can piloting the Shenzhou-21 spacecraft. But for the Shenzhou-22, it's different. That from the Shenzhou-22 spacecraft, it belongs to a different batch. So the Shenzhou spaceship have bigger capability for uploading and downloading cargoes, much greater than the previous batch.
So in layman's terms, it's getting bigger. No.
The volume is the same, but
Okay.
it's optimized,
Oh,
so you
okay.
can bring more cargoes.
Right.
But the key point is that the control panel changed. That's when you, in the automatic mode, of course, there is no difference. But if it is necessary for our astronauts to piloting ship in an emergency case, there will be difference. So I believe after docking today, one important training for our Shenzhou-22 crew is to familiar with control panels inside the cabin of our re-entry capsule. So this is very necessary step next April for their return, for their safety return to the Earth.
So if all goes well, the current Shenzhou-21 crew will be back to Earth from this very ship
exactly.
we're witnessing
so,
right now.
After several hours, the Shenzhou-22 spacecraft will dock with the front docking port of our Tianhe-1 core module on its node several hours later. So after this docking, I believe that the China Manned Space Agency will consider about the schedule for the return of our Shenzhou-20 spacecraft in unmanned mode.
Right, so that would be an empty ship coming back for
Exactly.
sure, right? Yeah.
So now we can see the video of the whole launch complex.
Yeah, and we're 5 minutes away.
Yeah.
5 minutes away from the launch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So at this moment, I believe that everything is okay, and some of the arms connected to the launch vehicle has already been rolled out. And I believe several seconds later, we will change the power supply from the launch service tower to the storage batteries inside the Shenzhou spacecraft and the launch vehicle. So this is also a very critical step.
So T-5.
Yeah, but we can
minutes mark,
see that still we have at least 3 arms connected to the launch vehicle.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, with the cables and the pipes connected to the launch vehicle.
Yeah. So you're watching live footage from Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center in northwest China. The launch of the Shenzhou-22 spacecraft is coming up very soon at 12:11 Beijing time.
Yeah. So we also heard the news that just yesterday, the launch vehicle has already been completed its fueling procedure.
Yeah.
Because you know that...
So it's liquid, right?
Liquid.
Yeah, liquid.
You know that the Long March 2F is now currently the only human-rated launch vehicle for the China Aerospace. It belongs to the old generation, so it uses a hypergolic propulsion system, which means that all its propellant containing, including the UDMH or unsymmetrical dimethyl hydrazine, and its oxidizer, the NTO or nitrogen tetroxide, all these propellants can be stored in room temperature. One is toxic and the other is highly corrosive. But the advantage is that it can be stored in room temperature, so we can complete the fueling procedure very, very early. So yesterday we've already filled the propellant tanks with all the propellants and conduct other checkings in its normal procedure.
So what about next generation rockets? Will we
next
see a
generation,
change?
according to the one version of our Long March 10 spacecraft will be used for launch of the Mengzhou or the new generation manned spacecraft. We can have 7 crew members inside. It will be launched in...
That'll be huge.
Not very huge, but
it almost double the size right now. We can see like 3 seats in Shenzhou.
The inside volume is more than doubled, but the mass is not doubled. So it can be launched from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center.
Right.
And at that moment, we can have more members visiting our Tiangong Space Station. And even very interesting, according to the announcement of China Manned Space Agency, we can even conducting a space tourism because we have more seats available.
Right, and less than 3 minutes to the launch.
Yeah.
So the launch is set at 12:11 Beijing time, coming up very soon. So still focusing on next generation carrier rocket.
Long March 10.
Long March 10.
It has 2 versions. One for manned lunar missions and for the low Earth orbit missions, including the change of crew for the Tiangong Space Station. And it is, that during the maiden flight of our Long March 5B spacecraft in 2020, we just have a test vehicle of a new generation spaceship. So in the future, that, as you mentioned, it's much bigger than our Shenzhou spacecraft. Also, the uploading capability and the downloading capability is more than doubled than our Shenzhou spacecraft. So at that time, we can get more samples produced by
less than 2 minutes to go.
Yeah, less than 2
so
minutes.
it will be launched at 12:11:42 seconds sharp Beijing time.
Yeah.
A big moment is approaching very soon.
Now very soon we will see that the arms connecting the launch vehicle also will be rolled out.
So these arms are mainly for stabilization and monitoring purposes.
Also some service functions.
As
I mentioned, providing the gases for air conditioning and for the electricity. And
even it's unmanned, they still need air conditioning.
Yeah. Because we need a very convenient temperature for the Shenzhou spacecraft inside the payload fairing.
Right.
So it has air conditioners.
So exactly 1 minute to go.
Yeah, T-minus 1 minute and counting.
So this is actually the site for currently all the manned space missions of China.
Yes. So we can see that the Shenzhou-22 crew is watching the live coverage.
Yes.
Now all the arms have been rolled out. 30 seconds. 20
seconds to go. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignite. Now the carrier rocket, along with the Shenzhou-22 spacecraft, is lifting off from Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center in northwest China.
And the next critical step will be the pitch over, which means that it will change its direction from the vertical direction to
a certain angle.
Eastern route.
And we can see live footage from within the China space station, or the Tiangong.
So this is video from the camera mounted on the launch vehicle looking backwards. We can see two of the boosters. Each have a rocket engine with a thrust of 75 tons.
Each have 75 tons, and together they
each
have 300.
One rocket engine with a thrust of 75 tons.
So together, can we just add them up?
Totally, they have 8 engines, including 4 on the core stage. So the next step will be the jettisoning of the emergency escape tower.
So even if it's unmanned, it still needs an escape tower at very top.
The key point is we don't want to change its status.
Right.
So any change of the status, although it's unmanned, but still the change of status which means
change
the
everything.
risk, which means the risk.
Will change everything because it's a very intact
So
system.
The change of everything may cause the problem of other systems.
Exactly. So now it's changing its course. Just as you mentioned, as changing to an eastward course?
Yeah, exactly.
This is still optical, right?
This is a video camera in visible light.
Right.
So because you know that the weather today is really clear. So we can see that the emergency escape tower has already been successfully jettisoned. Also announced by the ground. And the next critical step will be separation of the 4 rocket boosters. About 3 minutes after liftoff.
So how high is this rocket right now? As you just said, it's going to jettison the boosters.
I believe that at this moment it's already supersonic and maybe kilometers, more than 10 kilometers.
And from this...
this is an infrared image.
Infrared on the right-hand
side. The 4
side,
boosters jettisoned very successfully.
And
so next will be also the
Yeah.
first core stage is already separated. So now is work of the second stage. For the second stage, we have one main engine with a thrust about 80 tons, which have the similar configuration of the first stage, but a vacuum version. And also, we have 4 vernier engines to change its direction and attitude. And for the next critical step will be the separation of the payload fairing, which will happen within several seconds. So this is a camera inside the payload fairing. We can see the folded solar
panels, right?
Yeah. So the fairing separated. Oh, great. We can see that the sky is already very dark, which means that it's already outside the atmosphere. And the second stage, the main engine will work much longer than the first stage. So on left of the screen, we can see the video camera mounted on the tail of our second stage.
So we can see the main engine.
Exactly. And
also, we can see the
one of the small
veering
vernier engine. So it can be well monitored.
And the image quality is really, really high. Every detail is so
that's
clear.
That's what I meant. Thanks to our TT and C system,
right?
Both the ground stations and our Tianlian data relay satellite, we can have this high definition video.
Yeah, you can tell every detail, and that's crucial for monitoring, right? You can tell what's going on.
You should remember it's in vacuum condition.
Yeah.
So the temperature. Oh, we can see the beautiful shock wave of the.
就收控制台结束。未来飞船双补完成。
We just heard voice that the ground station has just captured and established the communication link with the flying object. The Dongfeng.
So what caused that spheric halo we just see?
Yeah, the arc shock wave is the cause. This is a phenomenon caused by the reaction of its flame and also the atmosphere.
Right.
But if in even the dawn or during the twilight, you can see more beautiful vision of this.
Right.
We can see on the top right of the screen is a 3D animation. Although it is an animation, but it's driven by the real data, which means that it represents the real position, attitude, velocity of the launch vehicle.
Right. Still monitoring the main engine right now.
Yeah.
So there are 4 veering engines.
4 vernier engines.
Yeah.
So the main engine is fixed. So it cannot rotating, but the 4 vernier engines can change its direction. Okay, Qingdao station has already captured our launch vehicle because that Qingdao is located in the eastern coast of China.
Right.
So it will be the last ground station for the launch procedure.
And then
you can see the rotating of our vernier engine.
Right. So that also means the report back of Qingdao Station means so far it goes right on course.
Exactly. You can see the bright horizon of the beautiful Earth.
Right.
And you may notice that the sky is already very dark. It's black. So it means that this is already outside the atmosphere. You can see our Shenzhou-21 crew is very relaxed, watching the live coverage of CMG.
Yeah.
So thanks to our communication system, every time during the launch of Shenzhou or Tianzhou, our crew in orbit can watch the live coverage.
USB 雷达跟踪正常，遥测信号正常，东风飞行正常。
So everything's
normal. The ground staff announced that everything goes okay. And as you mentioned, the reader, the optical devices monitor the spacecraft very normal. And the next critical step will be MECO, or main engine cutoff.
So the main engine is kind of the longest lasting component from the carrier
the second stage only have one main engine, so it works much longer than the first stage, and to reach the first cosmic velocity.
Right.
But after the cutoff of the main engine, the 4 volume engines will work longer, which can not only adjust the attitude of our spacecraft. Oh, main engine cut off.
2级主机关机。
2级主机关机。
Main
It is
engine
announced
cut off.
by the
Yeah.
ground staff.
Yeah.
And the 4 volume engines will work longer to adjust the trajectory very precisely to ensure, as I mentioned, that the orbit is accurate enough.
And the spacecraft itself has an engine system.
Exactly.
Right. It can
For
propel
the rendezvous
itself.
and the docking, mainly we're based on the propulsion system of our Shenzhou spacecraft.
So just to make sure, it's not like this carrier rocket sending the spacecraft right onto
Not
the
directly to our
station.
space station.
But it sends to a certain orbit, and it rotates.
Initial orbit.
Initial orbit.
Yeah.
Then it rotates.
It's lower than its target, so it can chase our target, the Tiangong space station.
Still on the first cosmic velocity.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Similar.
And eventually it will get to a higher orbit.
Yeah. Usually we choose a faster rendezvous and docking 3 hours or 6 hours. So just today, our Shenzhou-22 crew will enjoy their fresh food.
Right.
And even the
within
beef or
day.
chicken.
Right. Hopefully we can enjoy another clip of how the space oven works.
Yeah.
The last time we saw baked chicken wings and beef, right?
Yeah. We have an air
长江5
fryer.
号发现目标。
长江5号发现目标。
Changjiang 5号
Yeah.
is the name of our Yuanwang 5 space tracking ship. So it's not just now located in our Pacific Ocean. To have it will be the last ground station for the tracking of the trajectory of our launch vehicle.
So what happens next?
It
Happens
means that
after the ground station?
separated.
Main engine separated.
Yeah. No. The separation of the Shenzhou spacecraft
Oh,
is
Shenzhou
the second
spacecraft.
stage. So it's the task of our launch vehicle has completed. Now we can see the camera mounted on the propulsion module of our Shenzhou spacecraft. And the next critical step will be the unfolding of the solar panels. We have 2 solar wings, so we can see one of them.
So that's the source of that's the main source of power supply on the spacecraft.
We can see the beautiful Earth, actually speaking, the Pacific Ocean.
So you can actually tell that is the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
高率 UTC 0及星力出轨文件会前流程已启动，长城。
And soon the solar panels will be unfolded. So we have 2 solar wings, and each have 4 big panels, which can provide a very powerful electricity for our launch vehicle.
So before the solar panels unfolded, the spacecraft itself, right now at this moment, it's just gliding in space.
It's already in, as I mentioned, in the
It
lower.
has some kind of basic power supply, or it's kind of a total
still
dark
at this
mode?
moment it's used a storage battery
Right.
inside. But after unfolding of the solar panels, they will have a continuous power supply for their electricity. Okay. Still, we can see the cargoes inside our
cabin,
re-entry capsule. But also, not only in the re-entry capsule, in the orbital module, we also have many cargo. As I mentioned, the uploading capability of our new batch from the first one is this Shenzhou-22 spacecraft is much greater than the previous batch.
So would this consider to be additional extra payload for the Tiangong space station? What's the payload capacity for the space station itself? Oh, it's unfolding. Yeah, the solar panels are unfolding.
Yeah.
东风收到。
So this is the last critical step for the launch procedure. but still we cannot announce the success because you know that at this right moment we must judge whether the orbital parameters is accurate or not. Only it's accurate enough, we can say it is a successful launch.
Right, right. So, as you just mentioned, there are 4 such solar panels. Two such solar.
Each with 4 panels.
Each with 4 panels.
Yeah.
So we can actually, from this camera angle, we can see one, and there's
exactly.
Yeah, another one.
And still, it's in the sunshine area. We can see the beautiful view of the Pacific Ocean, although it's full of clouds. Because you know that the Shenzhou spacecraft orbiting the Earth in the first cosmic velocity more than 7.7 kilometers per second. So you can see that the Earth is also moving very fast in this video.
Right. Still, the taikonauts are watching the live coverage. Huh?
Exactly.
So the data link is super stable and strong. It must be.
Yeah, very, very stable. So I believe that at this moment we both have the video maybe from the Changjiang 5 or the Yuanwang 5, the space tracking ship, or from Tianlian data relay satellite.
Right.
At this moment, we already have 2 generations Tianlian, the Tianlian 1 system and the Tianlian 2 constellation.
And actually, all the live footages we're seeing now from space are due to this Tianlian data link.
Yeah. The Tianlian, the 2nd generation, has 2 very huge antennas. We can monitor different spacecraft.
And still, from this space footage, we can still see the definition is really, really high.
Yeah.
You can see the tiny details on those wirings and all those components.
We just heard that the Changjiang 5 or our Yuanwang 5 space tracking ship monitoring the spacecraft very normal. So as we discussed, still at this moment, we have the communication link between our Shenzhou and the Yuanwang 5.
Right. So far so good. Everything goes according to the plan.
Yeah. So next, within several hours, the propulsion system of our Shenzhou spacecraft will conduct several orbit maneuver and become closer and closer to the Tiangong and finally conducted the docking.
That will also be a phased procedure, right? It's not like just one shot and go. It will be just a step by step, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So we must be closer with different burning of our main engine, maybe sometimes to erase the difference between different orbital planes, some to raise its apogee or perigee, and finally get closer.
Right.
Also, you know that on the front of our Shenzhou spacecraft, we have rendezvous and docking radar and LiDAR, and also optical devices to measure the precise distance, angle, or direction, and also the relative attitude comparing with our Tiangong spacecraft. This time it will dock to our front docking port, so it's a little bit easier than to the radio docking port.
Yeah, the measurement would be fascinating, isn't it? Because you're not going straight lines. Basically, you're traveling on a sphere, so it's curved. So
yeah,
how would that work?
So you know, we have two different phases. In long distance, usually we have the parameters measured separately. But when we are close enough, for instance, maybe within 200 kilometers, first we can use radio radar. The rendezvous and the docking radar, it can work within a difference of 100 or 200 kilometers. And when it's closer, we can initiate the LiDAR and then use the optical sensors to measure the relative distance. So the guidance methodology is also different.
That's the simulation.
The tracking of our Yuanwang 5 has completed. So this is, as I mentioned, the 3D animation, but it represents the real status of the spacecraft.
Yeah. And this is exactly how the spacecraft looks like in real life or in real space.
It also represents the real attitude,
Yeah.
the direction.
And that thin red line we're seeing right now, it's the course, it's the set course, right?
We just heard an important information. The ground staff mentioned that they will now conducting the 4.5-hour fast rendezvous and docking soon, very soon.
我是北京。根据北京实时轨道与遥测数据监视判断，神舟22号飞船已进入近地点高度200公里，远地点高度369公里，倾角41.5度，周期约1小时30分钟的预定轨道。
Now, the ground control has just announced that the Shenzhou-22 spacecraft has entered the set orbit.
The commander of Beijing Flight Control Center mentioned that the perigee of the Shenzhou spacecraft, or the lowest point, is 200 kilometers.
Right.
And the highest point, or the aperture, is 369 kilometers high. And the inclination, which means that the orbital plane, the angle between the orbital plane and the equator is 41.5 degrees. So it's a very accurate orbit.
It's the set orbit.
When necessary, our Tiangong Space Station can also conduct the orbital maneuver to form an ideal phase, I mean the right position for faster rendezvous and docking. Because for faster rendezvous and docking, it cannot be done every day. Although theoretically speaking, every day we have the launch window, but still for faster ones, it's more strict.
And this is the live footage from the Beijing Aerospace Command and Control Center.
Yeah.
It's kind of the nerve center for all the space launches and
the chief of the
space
Jiuquan
operations.
Satellite Launch Center will announce the success.
根据火箭飞行数据及北京航天飞行控制中心监视计算，长征2号 F 遥22火箭已将 神舟22号飞船准确送入预定轨道，飞船帆板展开，工作正常。我宣布，神舟22号飞船应急发射任务取得圆满成功。
The big red screen.
Yes, the famous big red screen.
Yeah. So this means the
which
history.
means
we just witnessed of the history. The first emergency launch mission of China.
Yeah, it's not just one of the space launch missions.
Yeah.
It's the first emergency space launch mission of China.
You know that's so we are so exciting. You know how exciting we are because the Long March 12 is so complex. We can conduct all the testing procedures within these 16 days and have this very excellent launch today. So
it's super smooth. I would say.
How amazing it is.
Yeah, as a long-time space engineer, tell us more about what you're feeling right now.
Wow, really
You're
exciting.
almost in tears.
And
I
also,
have to break it to our audience. You're almost in tears.
Honestly speaking, so we choose the best decision to let the Shenzhou-20 crew return to the Earth with the Shenzhou-21 spacecraft. But just after the undocking procedure, the moment of the leaving of the Shenzhou-21 spacecraft, which leaves the danger to our Shenzhou-21 crew. As we mentioned, they only have a spacecraft with problem left. Although it's better than no rescue ship, but still
it's not the
very,
safest
very
option.
dangerous.
Yeah.
So if anything wrong happened, as we mentioned, if anything wrong happened for a bigger space debris collide with Tiangong and cause a depressurization, so this is the most dangerous situation. We don't have other choices but to leave the station with the Shenzhou-20 spacecraft, although it has a crack on its window, but we don't have other choices. But today, after several hours, with the coming of a Shenzhou-22 spacecraft, our Shenzhou-21 crew will save enough. So that's very exciting moment for us.
Human lives matter the most.
Think about it, as we discussed, only 20 days after we found the problem in the 5th of November.
And we finished the whole procedure. And
all these procedures.
Not only by safely getting the Shenzhou-20 crew back on Earth, but also to keep our Shenzhou-21 crew in space safe with an intact spaceship on board the Tiangong space station.
The difficulty is, that for this emergency 16-day mode, that all the subsystems, not only the system designers, but all subsystems must complete the gathering within 1 day to Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center and start the testing procedure and all other preparations simultaneously.
Yeah, help our global audience to understand, because you use the technical jargon there, subsystems, because I know that in space engineering it works in systematic engineering, right? So you divide one big mission into subsystems and to put all the missions back together as one.
On the top will be the system of systems.
Yes. So help our global audience understand the massive scale of putting all these huge systems working together in such a short time and achieve success.
For this manned mission, we have the engaged in that the launch pad, the launch site system, actually speaking, the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Site system, the Long March 2F rocket system, the Shenzhou spacecraft system, the astronaut system, the application system, the TT&C system, and also that the rescue system, that for the emergency escape, we also need the helicopters and other crew ground staff to find the capsule, although it's unmanned. So this is all the system, and also including the Tiangong space station system. For the subsystems, that for the Long March 2F, we have the propulsion system. We have the guidance, navigation, and control system. We have the electricity and other subsystem. And for the Shenzhou spacecraft, also similar. And that we must ensure not only the cargoes inside is okay, but all its orbital module, the rearrangement capsule, and the propulsion module also must, especially the propulsion module, must keep okay.
Such a big milestone for space engineers like you in China. Thank you very much, Professor Yang Jiuquan there. And this is official. China has successfully launched its unmanned Shenzhou-22 spacecraft to Tiangong space station. Now, here's a recap of some highlights from the launch. With that, we end this edition of special coverage on China's manned space mission. I'm Pan Zheng in Beijing. Stay tuned.
华山出尾根数及风控参数发出，景山收到。东风收到。